Hello everyone, it's Wednesday today and we have 2 more chapters of Mr. Fox to do. So, get ready for the reading. After that we're going to do a little bit of writing and of course some spelling. So, are you ready for the next 2 chapters? Here they come. Chapter 15, Bean's Secret Cider Cellar. Mr. Fox examined the wall carefully. He saw that the cement between the bricks was old and crumbly, so he loosened a brick without much trouble and pulled it away. Suddenly, out from the hole where the brick had been, there popped a small, sharp face with whiskers.
"Go away!"
it snapped.
"You can't come in here. It's private."
"Good Lord," said Badger. "It's a rat." "You saucy beast," said Mr. Fox. "I should have guessed we'd find you down here somewhere."
"Go away!" shrieked Rat. "Go on, beat it. This is my private pitch."
"Shut up," said Mr. Fox.
"I will not shut up," shrieked Rat. "This is my place. I got here first."
Mr. Fox gave a brilliant smile, flashing his white teeth. "My dear Rat," he said softly, "I am a hungry fellow, and if you don't hop it quickly, I shall eat you up in one gulp." That did it. Rat popped back fast out of sight. Mr. Fox laughed and began pulling more bricks out from the wall. When he had made a biggish hole, he crept through it. Badger and the smallest fox followed him in. They found themselves in a vast, damp, gloomy cellar. "This is it!" cried Mr. Fox. "This is what?" said Badger. "This place is empty." "Well, where are the turkeys?" asked the smallest fox, staring into the gloom. I thought Bean was a turkey man." "He is a turkey man," said Mr. Fox, "but we're not after turkeys now. We've got plenty of food." "Then what do we need, Dad?" "Take a good look round," said Mr. Fox. "Don't you see anything that interests you?" Badger and the smallest fox peered into the half-darkness. As their eyes became accustomed to the gloom, they began to see what looked like a whole lot of big glass jars standing upon shelves around the walls. They went closer. They were jars. There were hundreds of them, and upon each one was written the word cider. The smallest fox leaped high in the air. "Oh, Dad!" he cried out. "Look what we found! It's cider!" "Exactly," said Mr. Fox. "Tremendous!" shouted Badger. "Bean's secret cider cellar," said Mr. Fox. "But go carefully, my dears. Don't make a noise. This cellar is right underneath the farmhouse itself." "Cider," said Badger, "is especially good for badgers. We take it as medicine. 1 large glass, 3 times a day, with meals, and another at bedtime." "She'll make the feast into a banquet," said Mr. Fox. While they were talking, the smallest fox had sneaked a jar off the shelf and had taken a gulp. "Wow!" he gasped. "Wowee!" You must understand that this was not the ordinary weak fizzy cider one buys in a store. It was the real stuff, a home-brewed fiery liquor that burned in your throat and boiled in your stomach. "Ah, ah, ah," gasped the smallest fox. "This is some cider." "That's enough of that," said Mr. Fox, grabbing the jar and putting it to his own lips. He took a tremendous gulp. "It's miraculous," he whispered, fighting for breath. "It's fabulous. It's beautiful." "It's my turn," said Badger, taking the jar and tilting his head well back. The cider gurgled and burbled down his throat. "Oh, it's like melted gold," he gasped. "Oh, Foxy, it's like drinking sunbeams and rainbows."
"You're poaching," shrieked Rat. "Put that down at once. There'll be none left for me."
Rat was perched upon the highest shelf in the cellar, peering out from behind a huge jar. There was a small rubber tube inserted into the neck of the jar, and Rat was using this tube to suck out the cider. "You're drunk," said Mr. Fox.
"Mind your own business," shrieked Rat. "And if you great clumsy brutes come messing about in here, we'll all be caught. Get out and leave me to sip my cider in peace."
At that moment they heard a woman's voice calling out in the house above them.
"Hurry up and get that cider, Mabel," the voice called. "You know Mr. Bean doesn't like to be kept waiting, especially when he's been out all night in a tent."
The animals froze. They stayed absolutely still, their ears pricked, their bodies tense. Then they heard the sound of a door being opened. The door was at the top of a flight of stone steps leading down from the house to the cellar, and now someone was starting to come down those steps. Chapter 16. The Woman. "Quick," said Mr. Fox, "hide." He and Badger and the smallest fox jumped up onto a shelf and crouched behind a row of big cider jars. Peering around the jars, they saw a huge woman coming down into the cellar. At the foot of the steps, the woman paused, looking to right and left. Then she turned and headed straight for the place where Mr. Fox and Badger and the smallest fox were hiding. She stopped right in front of them. The only thing between her and them was a row of cider jars. She was so close, Mr. Fox could hear the sound of her breathing. Peeping through the crack between two bottles, he noticed that she carried a big rolling pin in one hand.
"How many will he want this time, Mrs. Bean?" the woman shouted.
And from the top of the stairs, the other voice called back,
"Bring him 2 or 3 jars. He drank 4 yesterday, Mrs. Bean." "Yes, but he won't want that many today because he's not going to be up there more than a few hours longer. He says the fox is bound to make a run for it this morning. It can't possibly stay down that hole another day without food."
The woman in the cellar reached out and lifted a jar of cider from the shelf. The jar she took was next but one to the jar behind which Mr. Fox was crouching.
"I'll be glad when that rotten brute is killed and strung up on the front porch," she called out. "And by the way, Mrs. Bean, your husband promised I could have the tail as a souvenir." "The tail's been all shot to pieces," said the voice from upstairs. "Didn't you know that?"
"You mean it's ruined?"
"Of course it's ruined. They shot the tail, but missed the fox."
"Oh," said the big woman. "I did so want that tail."
"You can have that instead, Mabel. You can get it stuffed and hang it on your bedroom wall. Hurry up now with that cider."
"Yes, Ma'am, I'm coming," said the big woman, and she took a second jar from the shelf. "She takes one more, she'll see us," thought Mr. Fox. He could feel the smallest fox's body pressed tightly against his own, quivering with excitement. "Will 2 be enough for Mrs. Bean, or shall I take 3?
"Oh, goodness, Mabel, I don't care, so long as you get a move on."
"Then 2 it is," said the huge woman, speaking to herself now. "He drinks too much anyway." Carrying a jar in each hand and with the rolling pin tucked under one arm, she walked away across the cellar. At the foot of the steps she paused, looked around, sniffing the air.
"There's rats down here again, Mrs. Bean. I can smell 'em." "Then poison them, woman, poison them. You know where the poison's kept."
"Yes, ma'am," Mabel said. She climbed slowly out of sight up the steps. The door slammed. "Quick," said Mr. Fox, "grab a jar each and run for it." Rat stood on his high shelf and shrieked,
"What did I tell you? You nearly got nabbed, didn't you? You nearly gave the game away. You keep out of here from now on. I don't want you around. This is my place."
"You," said Mr. Fox, "are going to be poisoned."
"Poppycock," said Rat. "I sit up here and I watch her putting the stuff down. She'll never get me."
Mr. Fox and Badger and the smallest fox ran across the cellar, clutching a gallon jar each. "Goodbye, Rat," they called out as they disappeared through the hole in the wall. Thanks for the lovely cider.
Thieves! Shrieked Rat. Robbers! Bandits! Burglars!
Okay, let's look at today's quiz. Fantastic Mr. Fox, chapter 15 and 16. Put in your email address. Remember to put in your email address, please, not the school one, because otherwise you won't get your score. Right. Today it's a Who Said It challenge. So I've got some quotes from the text, and you have to decide which character said this quote. So the first one is, "You can't come in here, it's private." So who said this? Was it Rat, Mr. Fox, Badger, Mabel, Mrs. Bean, or was it the smallest fox? Here's the next quote. "I am a hungry fellow, and if you don't hop it quickly, I shall eat you up in one gulp." Who said that? "Ah, this is some cider." Who said that? "Oh, Foxy, it's like drinking sunbeams and rainbows." Who said that? "You know, Mr. Bean doesn't like to be kept waiting." Well, who said that one? "There's rats down here again, Mrs. Bean. I can smell 'em." Who said that? So, read through the text, find the right person who said these things, choose the right one, and then submit, and I will send you back your score later on today. Okay, let's have a look at our writing task for today. Today is Wednesday the 15th of July, and our LI is I can use subordinating conjunctions. Now, we need to make sentences using conjunctions that show the character's feelings in chapter 15 and 16. So, we're going to write in full sentences using capital letters and full stops. We're going to use because when we're explaining the character's feelings. I feel sad because I am worried about the shovels. We're going to use so when we're explaining the character's actions. I was worried about the shovels, so I decided we should dig a tunnel. We're going to use when to show the time conditions for a character's feelings. I was worried when I heard the shovels overhead. We're going to use if. I'll show you that one again. If. We're going to use if to show the conditions for the character's feelings. I feel scared if I think about the farmers getting us. Now, chapter 15 is very happy. They're very ecstatic. It's joyful. They find the cider cellar. And Badger loves cider. And the smallest fox tries drinking some of it as well, and he really likes it too. So Fox, smallest fox, and Badger are all happy in that chapter. Of course, Rat, he's not so happy, is he? Because he's worried that they are going to get caught. And if they get caught, he gets caught. Chapter 16. Mr. Fox, the smallest fox, and Badger, well, they're all hiding from Mabel, aren't they? She's come down to get that cider. So they are worried they're going to get caught. And Rat, well, I bet Rat's sitting there going, please don't get caught, because if they catch you, they'll catch me. And remember, she talks about putting poison down. But is he worried about that? Not really. Okay. I'm going to do foxes, and I would like you to do rats, badgers, and the smallest foxes' feelings as well. So we're going to do one of each type of sentence for Mr. Fox. Okay, so when he found the cellar, I was delighted to find the cellar. Why? Because I knew we would get cider for the banquet. Now, remember, he's worried about them stealing too much stuff and making too much of a noise. So how about this? I was worried about getting caught. So I told Badger's a name, remember, needs a capital letter, and the smallest fox to be quiet. That's so. What about when? I was not scared when Rat told me to go away. He wasn't scared of Rat, was he? And if. Okay, we need an if now. Let's see, how is he feeling? Well, he hasn't heard the footsteps yet, has he? So, I am worried about being caught if we are not careful. Okay, so that's my 4 sentences for Mr. Fox. Now I'd like you to do 4 for rat, 4 for the smallest fox, and 4 for badger. And then, of course, during chapter 16. Which one shall I do for this? Let's do the smallest fox. I was terrified because I thought we were going to get caught. I was very nervous, so I stayed. How still? Incredibly still. When? Well, it's got to be when Mabel comes downstairs, isn't it? I was, let's say, really scared. I was really scared when Mabel started picking up the jars of cider. And we need an if. How about this? I would run as fast as I could if Mabel saw me. Okay, so those are my 4 sentences for the smallest fox describing his feelings and actions in chapter 16. So now I want you to try. We need 4 sentences for each character, for each chapter, showing how they're feeling or their actions that show their feelings. Remember to use those subordinating conjunctions that we've learnt this year. Okay, have a go at that, and then we're going to come back together and do some spelling. Okay, it's time for some spelling. I'm going to make sure I log in properly. I won't get the points today. There we go. No, thank you. And we are going to year 2 and spelling rule 9, that all sounds spelt AL at the end of the words. Shall we see? We have hospital, metal, legal, pedal, animal, and capital. So just 6 words for today. I'm going to play some games. It's going to be harder for us to get points because there isn't as many words. Which one haven't I tried yet? I haven't tried spelling maze monsters, so I'm going to try that one today. Play. Quite enjoyed that song. I'm going to turn it off though so I can speak to you guys. Right, let's go straight for a test.
Do you want the sentences read out loud?
Yes, please. Okay, collect points by eating candies. When you eat a cake, you will be given a challenge. Okay. If you answer the challenge correctly, your opponent will shrink and you will become bigger and faster, and then you can eat your opponent and steal their points. But if you fail to answer the challenge, you will get stunned for a while. Player with the most points wins. It's a bit like Pac-Man. Use the arrow keys to move and answer. Okay, so I'm going to get a cake so I get to answer a question. Okay.
Lola broke her arm and had to go to hospital.
Hospital.
Okay, hospital. Hospital. Yes, it's 10 points.
Her bike needed a new pedal as one of them was broken.
Pedal.
Pedal. Pedal. Yes, 10 more points. Oh, there's another cake to eat there.
Gold and silver are both types of metal.
Metal.
Metal. Metal. Yes, 10 more points. Oh, there's a cake there too. I'm going to eat that one.
London is the capital city of England.
Capital.
Capital. Capital. Yes, got it right. Wonder what happens when you try and eat the other monster. Let's find out. Whoa, 500 points. Great. I'm going to try and get another word.
His favourite animal at the zoo was the zebra.
Animal.
Animal. Yes. 50 spelling points already. Oh, I see another cake down there. I'm going to spell that word correctly.
A lawyer provides legal advice.
legal,
Legal. Legal. Yes, 10 more spelling points. 60. No words left, so I think that's the end of the game. Who got highest score? Well, the enemy got 180 points, and I got, wow, 1,480. So that gets me 110 spelling points. Fantastic. And I'm going to get to 500 today, because I can just play this game 5 times. So, have a go at some spelling games today. Remember, we are doing Spelling Rule 9, the all sound spelt AL at the end of words. Try and get some points. Tomorrow, we've got a big spelling challenge for you. Have a great day and stay safe.